like, okay, so I grabbed this volleyball and I'm just like, whack, whack. And then after my right arm was so exhausted, I was just like, man, here comes my left. Bam, and obviously I'm a righty, so I didn't realize how much power my left one had, and I'm just like smacking those balls like bam, bam. So my daughter goes, "What's wrong with you?" So you want to play? I'm playing. I didn't realize how much anger came out at that moment. Carla Araujo here with Badass Agents. I'm super excited today because I'm actually holding the podcast myself. AZ Araujo is not present with us. I'm taking over, AZ, in case you're watching this. But anyways, welcome. And I have a special guest today. Want to go over there? Yeah. Bobbi, want to introduce yourself? Bobbi Herman here.
Bobbi Herman. How are you guys?
Well, welcome. You know, I have a quick story. So yesterday, Bobbi, and I think you can relate to this because she just told me she's been married for 22 years.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Well, yeah. I do want, this is us, right? Women in Real Estate is what we're naming this. This is our podcast today. Badass Agents, Women in Real Estate, because we're badass women. But I have to tell you something, Bobbi, 22 years is a very long time. So yesterday, and I haven't told this to my husband yet, so I'm sure he's going to hear this. And it brought me up to a very good point when he told me I've been married 22 years. I'm like, dang. So I've been in business with my husband for many, many years. But yesterday we had a meeting, and it was a very awesome, intense meeting. It was just a great meeting that's going to take us. We have all kinds of goals in line that we're working out. So AZ has a tendency of kind of being strong with his opinion and kind of just being like, it's my way and that's the only way, And I'm this alpha female that's trying to jump in and kind of puff up and be like, so we were just bumping heads yesterday. It just wasn't good. So we had all these great ideas in real estate, right? And so we ended up playing volleyball with my kids yesterday. We took them to the out to the tennis thing or racquetball place and to play volleyball. So I kind of told AZ on how I felt and how he was treating me and how I didn't appreciate the way he didn't value my opinion in a sense. And he's like, hey, Carla, it's not what I meant. That's not the route I was going. Okay, whatever. So we ended up going to this volleyball. And I didn't realize how angry I was until my daughter said, hey, do you want to play volleyball with me? We're going to serve. And I'm like, okay. So I grabbed this volleyball and I'm just like, whack, whack. And then after my right arm was so exhausted, I was just like, man, here comes my left. Bam, and obviously I'm a righty, so I didn't realize how much power my left one had, and I'm just like smacking those balls like bam, bam. So my daughter goes, what's wrong with you? So you want to play? I'm playing. I didn't realize how much anger came out at that moment. And then I went out, and AZ's looking at me like, what's wrong with you? And I came out, and he's like, yeah, there's a lot of things I need to work on. I'm like, man, that's all I needed from the beginning. Just let me know that you're in this conversation. You understand where I'm going with this. But 22 years in a marriage is a very long time. Congratulations. It's a lot of work. Just like everything else in our business, our body, and marriage and kids, we're constantly putting in work. Now, there was something you told me that was very interesting. Not only have you been married for 22 years, but you ended up leaving your last job to come into real estate, right? To spend more time with your kids.
Yes.
And so staying at home a little bit, how did that go? Like, how did you interact with your husband, him seeing you more, trying to build your business with two teenagers at the time, right? They're teenagers.
They were actually younger when I stopped working retail, because I was a manager 60 hours a week. It was taking a toll on me. I wanted to stay home with the kids. I found out after a year that being a stay-at-home mom was not for me. I liked the social interaction. I was a little jealous of my husband that he got to go to work, and he was, it was a little bit of a struggle for us. And then he's like, well, why don't you do real estate? Because you're great at that. Like, you love to talk to people. That would be something you could do it on your own or whenever you want to. And that was the beginning for me.
And so how did you find, was that a struggle for you to, so when you're starting in real estate, and I know this for me, it's brand new, it's fresh, and you're just like, okay, where do I start? And when things get overwhelmed, because I stayed home for a very long time, running the background operation of all our real estate. I know for me, Bobbi, when I was at home, I had a ton of paperwork, I had a ton of things to do. Yes. But I would still get up and be like, oh, I have to go do that load of laundry. Oh, the kid is crying. I have a doctor's appointment. So how did you kind of put, I guess, all your energy into business without feeling the guilt of having those little kids kind of like, mom, you know? How did that transition for you? Because before, when you have a job, you go on your way, right? And then you come home and you're like, okay, only a couple hours are spent with my kids, but now it's full-time mommy, full-time business owner.
It was very difficult for me because, a couple of reasons. I really didn't start my full real estate career, honestly, till like 5 years ago. Because I was a part-time, full-time agent, if you would. My daughter was very involved in dance, so I was her chauffeur for, 10 years. So, but when I finally made the decision to like go full time, it was like things are going to have to be to the wayside. I'm not going to be able to do the dishes. I'm not going to be able to do that laundry. That's why I go in the office, because if I don't, I'm like stuck. I'm doing the laundry, I'm doing that. But now that my kids are older, it's just nice because I have that availability to just do what I want to do for me.
Right.
Not
so your life before real estate was pretty crazy, and it just became that much more crazier after, right?
Absolutely.
During real estate.
Yes.
So, and it happens to all of us, guys. I think when we become these business owners, these entrepreneurs, we want to create something big.
Yes.
But there's always something stopping us, constantly stopping us. And we don't want to like point fingers and be blamers. And so I know for a long time I was just like, somebody please put a pacifier in that child's mouth. I have to make phone calls. And I'm not lying to you. And I was told yesterday, the bigger we grow, the more we tend to put on our plate, the more responsibility, the bigger the headache. It just becomes great. And so all these things come our way to stop us, and especially women. I mean, we're married. Some of us are single. Well, I'm not single, but
I'm not either.
No, but I was very close to being single, by the way.
I think everybody that's been married for a long time has been close to being single.
I have definitely had those moments of wanting to be single, let me tell you. But again, all these things come our way as being women in business and entrepreneurs, right? So we're trying to build something great, but we're always feeling that guilt of being mommies.
Yes. Now,
you said something to me before the podcast, so I started getting to know you a little bit. You said to me, it only took me a year to realize I don't want to be a mom. I do not want to be a stay-at-home mom.
No.
It only took you a year to realize, like, I'm out, I'm going to build my business, I'm going to create. And something that I think we miss. We want to leave our 9-to-5 job and become agents because we're thinking we're going to spend more time with the kids. I think it's going to flow, but we're kind of stuck there not to realize that when we do that, now we're just being a stay-at-home moms with like 90% stay-at-home mommies and 10% business. So, and I guess we do that, and it's okay for some to do that, but eventually your kids become what? Adult. 19 and 21-year-old, and you're like, okay, now what? The kids are not needing me as much, but yet your business of all those years you decided to set a goal of saying, I want to start my own business, kind of put a delay because you're like, well, I'm home now, so this feels good. Let me take care of the kids, right? So your business kind of starts to slack. So 5 years ago as you started into industry, right?
No, it's actually been, I've been in it for 15.
15, but
15.
5 years ago is when you took off.
Yes.
So what was the difference between that time frame? Again, tell me what made a difference of your business completely taking off?
I was focused more on my business, not so much my kids, because my kids were getting older. They were able to be self-sufficient. Right. I didn't have to be around as much, so that helped. And it was just me wanting to provide for our family.
Okay. So, and I love that you said that. So I want to go back to this, ladies. If you had the mindset back then, Bobbi, to understand the process of knowing, hey, if I start from over here of where my kids are young and I'm going to turn into, kind of get my real estate license and stay at home. But then you see these little faces and you feel the guilt, right? If you would have hired a nanny, if you would have hired some help, if you would have hired a housekeeper and all these other little things, where do you think you would be today?
Way better off.
Right.
So quick story on that. When I started at A.Z. & Associates, it's almost been a year, by the way. One of the first things that you guys told me was get an assistant. I dragged my feet. Finally got an assistant in January. And now that I have my assistant, I'm producing way more with her and able to pay her and do more business right now.
And that's it, guys. The reason why I wanted to bring Bobbi in was for that reason. A lot of you women out there who are starting to create something greater. You start to see more in you. You become business owners. A lot of you want to become real estate agents. A lot of you are already real estate agents and put 90% into your family and 10% into your business. I get it. It's beautiful. It's great. Nothing against that. But eventually you're going to come to the realization that your kids are getting older and they're out. All this time you could have put into your business is just starting from scratch, like 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So start now to understand the process of you can't do it alone.
No.
You can't.
You cannot.
It's just not going to happen. Now, if you want to be that mommy who brings in a deal or two a month, and that's great, own that, and that's okay. But this podcast is for the women who are like stuck between like the guilt of feeling like I want to be a business owner, but yeah, I want to be a mommy. You have to go in knowing what you want and get a plan and understand there's going to be some setbacks. Financially, some of you are like, hey, I can't afford a nanny. But things are going to be so much greater if you just invested into your business. That's exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. It's investing into your business, into your family. So things can get better, bigger. The whole purpose of creating something big is to spend more time with your family, right? To love yourself more. So you can come home to your kids. I know with me, Bobbi, when I put more into my business, I love my children that much more. I'm not pointing fingers and be like, oh my God, you don't let mommy work. Because I own it. I'm a workaholic. I'm sorry. And I have no shame in saying that. I love to work. And I love the crazy and madness. When my schedule is booked, I'm like, yes. You know, and I don't mean by doctor's appointments and running around with the kids with the sport. I mean doing something creative, productive, and bam, taking my business to a whole new level. That's what I love. Yep. And I have no shame in saying that. But I remember being that stay-at-home mom that I was just like, no, my family means everything. My kids, work is nothing. It's like, because I was so ashamed to own that I love to work. Mm-hmm. I love the business aspect. I love to create content. I love to talk to people. I'm a people person.
Yes, you are.
So anyway, going back, skipping that, good with that. What are some of your hobbies, Bobbi? Because I know what goes up must come down. We put so much work into our business, our family, and one thing we all women do, we forget about us. What are your hobbies, Bobbi? Tell us. I know you have something huge that I admire, I love about you.
One of my very favorite things to do, because it's my therapy, actually, so I don't punch people.
There you go. There you go.
Is CrossFit.
Woo!
Yeah. I've been doing CrossFit for 5 years now at Hammer CrossFit, and actually that's where I met AZ there.
So were you there when he popped his chest? Pop those biceps or whatever he did to himself?
He's there at 5:30 in the morning. I'm not a 5:30 in the morning person.
There was a ton of witnesses on that.
I saw the video of it, and it was pretty gnarly.
We have to share that video again.
You really should, because it was gross. But CrossFit is, I love it. And it's for everybody, because everybody's so against CrossFit that it's for elite athletes, and that's a lie.
You know, I'm going to tell you, I'm not against anything that allows us to let all the frustration out.
Yeah.
Definitely, real estate is crazy. Real estate can eat you and spit you out alive, no lie.
Yeah.
I think when people come out of school as agents, they're on this really big high, and they're just, you're laughing because it's so true. So you're on this really
I'm going to make all this money.
Yeah, I'm going to make all this money. It's great. And for some, it might be great for the first 2-3 years. Mm-hmm. And then after that, you start to get to industry a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Clients are no longer running your business. Your clients are running your business. You're being controlled by them. You're not knowing where your next deal is going to come, so you're on this edge because the first year was good, the second year's not. Your health starts to decline, and as women, we look at ourselves in the mirror like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm gaining a little belly, I'm losing hair, I have, wrinkles under my eyes, and I feel like crap, and so my confidence level is low. So there's so many things that go into being a business owner, just real estate alone, like I said, because in real estate, you're a salesperson. You're a salesperson. If you don't put yourself first and take care of you, you will burn out in real estate, right?
That is a fact.
I am all for putting anger into something else, maybe CrossFit. That's why I weightlift. And that's why I ended up taking that volleyball and being like, bam, and slamming that volleyball with all this anger, because I was just like, oh, all right, AZ, I love you again, And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be honest, that volleyball was his head. It was the back of his head, and it felt good, just go, And then after my right arm, I'm telling you, it was exhausted, I'm going to my left. And so it felt awesome. So anyway, moving on, Bobbi, what can you tell me in the process of building your business in the 5 years? has something come to mind where it put you and stopped you in your tracks?
Well, there's a couple of things. I had a really low self-esteem for a couple of years. Started drinking a little bit more than I should have, and was just not feeling good about myself. And that made my business suffer big time.
What do you think drew you there? Like, what do you think took you to that?
I think it was a lot of things. I think I wasn't making enough money in real estate, and I was feeling bad about not providing for my family or for my kids, and my husband was working a lot, and just in general, and I really wasn't doing very much with myself, doing for myself. I was always doing for my family, and it just kind of brought me to a place of just not being happy. And I had to get out of that really quick. And luckily, me and my husband have a good relationship. I mean, we've been married for 22 years.
I mean, I have to tell you something,
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not been easy the entire time. But, just having conversations with him about, I'm not feeling good about myself, really kind of helped us in a way. And then just me, again, trying to move on with business and start providing. And once I started making money in real estate, it really started helping my confidence, and then made our relationship better, my kids' relationship better. So that's, but yeah, women in general, we tear each other apart. We tear ourselves down.
And I think it has to do, when we tear each other apart, I think it has to do with everything with ourselves,
it does.
Right?
It does.
One woman lacks confidence in that room, it's like poison. Mm-hmm. It is poison. Because you're just poisoning everybody else. You give that energy. And I'm speaking of that because I was that woman. I was the woman who drank all the time, who ran around like a mad woman, who just didn't want to talk to people. I was insecure. I lacked confidence, and I turned to the bottle plenty of times. So, hey, no judgment here. Yeah. I turned to a classy glass of wine to a whole entire bottle of vodka. In those huge ones. Like, it was nothing cute. So I don't know how it turned into that, but it just went from the madness of just having so much work and yet not making any money. Yep. And just being overwhelmed with the thoughts of the regrets of many things in my life, of not having the backbone and the confidence and the power that I needed to carry on and to be the woman that I am today for my kids. It was hard, but I lost myself along the line somewhere. And I know where it was, but I don't want to turn this podcast into that. Yeah. And there's so much stuff out there. If you want to follow me on my story, go to dothework.com to get more information about me. But there's so much behind that because it really hits home with me. Because I just remember that one time picking up that bottle. It felt so good. It really did. It took me to a completely different place of not giving a shit. Mm-hmm. And eventually, again, what goes up must come down. Yeah. And if you're not surrounded by the right people in the environment to tell you, hey, what you're doing is not okay. You're dysfunctional. Yeah. And someone to be honest with you, you can hear it from your spouse. Mm-hmm. You can hear it all day long. But when you have people actually speaking the truth, you can take it two ways. You can take it like, that's very offensive. Mm-hmm. Or you can actually live up to the truth and be like, that is what's going on. That is what's going on. Yeah. That is me. Yeah. And own up to that. Yeah. We can't celebrate another woman's success if we can't even celebrate our own. We can't truly be there for women's failure, because sometimes some women are actually listening to the failure just because they're like, oh, my life is good. It's just it's so sad to me. It is. So you can't support another woman if you can't even speak up for yourself, if you can't be confident and love who you are, so you're comforting this other woman. So I get that. I get that on so many levels because I was on both sides. Yep. And what brings me today and so I started this Women in Real Estate because it's just so passionate, because I think that what this is heading towards, guys, is real life stories of women. Yep. Not just about the success, but how we got there. Yep. And it was hard. 22 years being married. Mm-hmm. Leaving a job and going into real estate, not knowing where it was going to go, and it led you to alcohol, and it led you to depression, and it led you to anxiety, it led you to self-harm. You're like, oh my gosh, I should have kept my 9-to-5 job. I should have been that person over there getting a paycheck every 2 weeks. I was okay there. What happened?
I would not go back to that.
Right, and that's what I love about you, is because you're like, no, I'll never go back.
No.
I love who I am.
No.
And so that's just a beautiful thing. And that goes to the question is what would you say to those that are stuck in their business and are looking to move towards AZ and Associates? Because I know I've heard that. I've heard about like, well, you're gonna bring out the worst in me. I mean, the best in me, but it gets ugly before it gets, to get to that point. So I want to know a little bit about that.
So I think we had talked about this. When I started with AZ and Associates, I actually waited a year before I came aboard.
And that's why I want to know, because you're not the only person that I've heard that. That's why I said people, I think, are thrown off a little bit. We're like, I'm watching you guys, but I know you're going to bring so much about me that I'm not ready to, but it is a beautiful thing. And you're a successful story. You're an amazing, amazing human being.
Thank you.
Tell me about that.
So I was very intimidated by you guys. Very intimidated.
Not just by me, right?
No, by both of you. But it's funny because I love your personality, because of all my friends, I'm probably the loudest. And I am the loudest.
You hear that, AZ? She appreciates loudness.
I do. But I was really, really nervous. And then my friend Gabby, she was like, you really should come try it. And I'm like, no. 3 more months, and then she's like, we have a class that you can come see and just see if you like it. So of course I come. I meet with one of the coaches, and you come in.
Oh, great.
In the middle of my interview.
I come in out of nowhere.
And you're like, yes or no? And I'm like, I think so. You're like, no. Mm-mm. It's yes
Are you recording
or no.
this? Can we get this on record?
Yes or no? And I'm like, I think so. And you're like, no, yes or no? And I'm like, yes, I'm signing up. So I signed up, and I will say, and I have said this to so many people, it was the best decision I ever made. Now, in all fairness, I was lucky that I had worked for different companies before I came here, because I know how special it is here. If you are new here, you're new to the business, and you come straight to AZ and Associates, you might not really appreciate it as much as I do, because I've been through the worst of the worst. And not all the companies I work for were bad, but everybody here helps each other. It's always positive. There's no negativity in this place. Everyone is trying to build each other up. The sales meetings, all the events that you guys put on for us, all the coaching that you guys do for us, there's just so much that people don't understand how good it can be and how successful we can be.
Oh, I appreciate that,
well,
Bobbi. Those are some kind words. Thank
you guys have been amazing to me, and you have also made it perfectly clear. It's what I decide to do. You can do everything for us, but we as individuals have to make that decision to work hard, and which I have, and has paid off big time for me.
Right. And I just did a podcast on that. I'm a strong believer of faith in God. And I've heard many women say, this is a path God has given me. I'm supposed to stay home with my family. I'm supposed to raise my kids and be attentive to my husband. Or it could be the other way. I'm not supposed to be this fabulous, high-earning woman. I'm supposed to just be, just a woman who's just making a normal salary, and because this is the way God has it for me. This is what God planned out. And it's like, no, that's your plan. You're not willing to want more. You're not wanting more. There's more of you. You're not wanting to go there to understand what is stopping you. And that's exactly what we do here at AZ and Associates. And we put ourselves at that risk as well, because I believe that AZ and I share so much of us.
You do.
And our souls to just there's so much greatness in you,
Thank you.
And I approached you that day, and I do remember, it's either yes or a no.
Yes.
But I would tell you, and I've told many, this place isn't for you.
Yeah.
But when I got that energy and that approach from you, Bobbi, you wanted it as much as I wanted to see this fabulous, phenomenal, badass Bobbi that I see in front of me. And I knew that there was this fire in you, and I know it, and it was just, I'm so grateful to be part of that growth, and thank
Me
you
too.
for being like a sponge and not taking anything to, I guess, so personal. It's just because it was just, we see greatness, and it wasn't like, it's not against me. It's not, it's just, we speak because I know what you've gone through. That's why I said, hey, picking up that bottle is nothing new to me. Lack of confidence is not new to me. So all this, I'm sharing with you, not because I know, but because I lived that life. and I didn't like it. It wasn't for me. What is one greatest value that you received here at A.Z. Like just one?
Oh my gosh.
What was something that you're like, oh, this feels great, and I'm never going back to the old Bobbi? What is something that you see in you that you've never saw before?
Well, what I really like is how you hold us accountable. You ask. And no other brokerage does that. And so when I come in, or you guys come in, you're like, okay, so what are your numbers? What are you guys doing? I like that we don't get away with that, and the fact that you guys just believe in what we can do. And that is the biggest thing, because sometimes, well, women especially, I don't know if men have this as much as we do. We doubt ourselves all the time. When I walk into this office, there's no doubt. I know I'm going to be kicking ass every day, and I know I'm going to be making money, and I know I'm going to be helping my clients get their dream home or sell their home because they have to relocate somewhere else or whatever it is. I know that I'm doing the best job for them because I'm in the best place that I've been in years.
Yes, I love it. And you know you're bringing that.
Yes.
Yes, that confidence that you know that you are confidently going to either find that what your clients are looking for and be confident in that. I love it. And when you have someone that doesn't have that, it's like, who's your agent?
Yeah.
I love that. So I want to ask you one thing. What would you tell the new agents out there who are starting their business, who have already got, their real estate license, who are out there just struggling and getting to know themselves more if they want to be in real estate? I mean, that's first and foremost. Very important, by the way. There's a lot of people that come on board. I'm like, you might want to consider another position. This might not be for you. But if it is for them, and they're doubting, what would you tell the new agents?
First off, come here to A.Z. and Associates. Second off, make sure you have your systems in place and your database in place. I know this is probably a broken record for some, but I am telling you, have your systems in place, have your database, and make sure you take care of those clients that refer you and are good to you, because those are going to be the people that you're going to get happy people from, people that you want to work with.
Now, I want you to go back. You said something important, and I think that's important, but I want you to go back. This question is more, I want you to go way back when the first year, you said you've been aged for 15 years.
15,
The first year you walked out of real estate school. That's the advice I want to hear. That advice.
Definitely make sure you check all your brokerages, because not all brokerages are the same. That is very, very important, by the way. 2, make sure that you have the proper training, and not just classes, but actual real estate training for the real world, because it's not like it was 15 years ago.
How would you tell someone, where do the prospecting start? Where does that start?
Well, it's going to start, your prospecting is going to start with your family and friends, and then people that you've worked with before. And then open houses, people, open houses. That's where you're going to.
Now, Bobbi, I know 15 years ago, when you started this, I know when I held my first open house.
Yeah.
I look cute.
Oh, yeah.
I had a great outfit on.
I'm always looking cute.
But what was coming out of my mouth made no sense. I was afraid to talk because I was like, what if I say the wrong things? What if I don't answer the right questions? Or have the right answers on the questions they're asking me? So I remember we held 2 open houses right down the street from each other. AZ held one down the street, and I held one on the other street, down the street. That's right. So I just remember sitting in my first open house, and I had my table set up. I think it was a countertop. I had all my flyers and stuff, and I was just like, I'm a nervous wreck right now because I don't know if I'm doing anything right, or the first client that walks in, where do I even start to conversate? And I'm a people person, as you can tell. I love people, but there was a time where obviously I have anxiety, and all this stuff was hitting me, and I had a lot of financing, a lot of things going on in my life. So the last thing on my mind was I want to carry a conversation with the person because I don't feel like I was in my power. And this tends to, I think it happens to a lot of agents who come out of school and they're like, okay, how do you start a conversation in real estate? I do got to tell you this, guys. I think the classes in the real estate, all that, it's much needed.
Yeah.
How to write contracts, all that is much needed. Educate yourselves as much as you can, because school in real life is not the same.
It is not.
But the number one thing I think people fail at is to understand that confidence, the energy that you give out to your clients, to the first person that walks into that open house is huge, and they can feel you. They can feel you. If you are lacking that confidence in business, they're going to have that in you. They're going to second guess, who did I just walk into? Like, what? There's always ways to say, I'll get back to you with that question. Yep. With that confidence, that strong backbone. You're the professional.
Yes.
You went to school. You know your stuff. So you just have to always constantly keep growing and touching up and educating yourself, right?
Yes.
So that's kind of where I want to go back to on that end. So anyway, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me,
Bobbi. I love you so much, woman.
I love you too.
Piece of my heart. Thank you so much for sharing that. If you are interested in joining A.Z & Associates Real Estate Group, go to badassagents.com and fill out the application. AZ and I will contact you. Everyone, have a great day. And again, baby.
All right. I'll be
Bobbi,
your baby.
thank you for joining us. Bye.